everybody, Mrs. Kozman here. Today we're going to do a drawing of what might or might not be right outside your window. So I thought the first thing to start with today was maybe I'd take you over and take a look at see what's outside my window, which is not that exciting actually, but I thought I'd give you a little shot of my world. So here we go. I'll take you over in 3, 2, 1. And if you look over here, you can see, well, there's my window. It's tall. I've got a good view into my neighbor's backyard and of the roof and my lilac bush and the swing set, some fence and some backyard and a nice big sewing machine right there. Well, that's not terribly exciting. So let's move back over and see what we can do to spruce up what this painting might look like. To get your drawing started is actually create your window. Now I've turned my paper sideways because it kind of fits better when I'm filming, but if you want to do your window the tall way, you absolutely can. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the kind of window I have in my room, but it doesn't fit really well on my paper. So the first thing I'm going to use my imagination for is actually turning my window sideways to make it wider than it actually is. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to draw out the frame of the window, which I'm just going to follow with the edges of the paper into that big rectangle. And once you've got your frame started out for your window, you can either make them fancy by putting in diagonals, corners, or you could do fancier corners with a square here, or you could do whatever kind of shape you want to make your corner fancy. I'm going to do a diagonal shape here just to have that corner kind of mitered in just like it would be in the sill of the window. There we go. All right, got my window all framed out. Now I want to put the panes of glass in the window, and there are a couple of different ways that you can do that. You can draw straight across and you can have a top frame pane and a bottom pane, or you can do, some windows are broken into 4 panes of glass or even more. Sometimes you might get 6 or 8 panes of glass. This is completely up to you and your choice. My window in reality only has one line to break the panes of glass into a top and a bottom, but I want to get a little fancier with it. So I'm going to make mine have 4 panes of glass in it, and I'm going to create those by drawing these rectangles inside my larger rectangle frame. There we go. And like I said, if you want more, give yourself more. If you want less, give yourself less. That's completely up to you. See, I've got a little wavy line there. I'm going to straighten that one out. There we go. All right, so the next part for creating our out the window picture is to think about where would you like your horizon line. Now the horizon line is where the sky meets the ground in real life. It creates kind of like this imaginary line. And it's not just having your sky at the very top in blue and your grass at the very bottom in green. Those things actually need to meet in the painting, and that creates a line we call the horizon line. So I'm going to create mine, and if I put it up here in the top pane, I'm going to have a little bit of sky and a lot of green. If I put it down here in the bottom panes, I'm going to have a little bit of grass and a lot of sky. It's completely up to you. If you want to get really fancy with it, you can make that horizon line wavy and imagine where that might go. You can make that horizon line, imagine, dip and swirl, imagine all over your paper. So you can have that horizon be your horizon line where this portion of the paper is sky and this portion of the paper is ground. Or you can go ahead, if you want, have hills in front of your horizon line. So you can have even more going on in your picture. Maybe I have a creatively or a little wavy line going across, crawling across the paper like that. There's another hill in front. Maybe I'm going to drip one right down here. It's going to wave. It's just going to be a little hill coming right across there. Now what you want to make sure you're not doing is crossing your lines right on top of your window pane frame because that's going to put your hills right there inside the room with you, and that would be a little bit of a boo-boo. So we want to avoid doing that. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is try to imagine what would be out there. Now, in my real backyard, I have fences and a really old swing set and a roof from my downstairs, which is not that attractive to look at. So I'm not going to put that in my painting. I'm going to be more creative. If I could be anywhere, what would be here on my hills and in my sky? Well, I'm going to put trees in mine because I would love to have some big, beautiful green trees like it was the middle of summer, and that would be lovely. My trees right now are very barren. There's not a whole lot going on. So I'm going to create this big, giant kind of cotton ball tree going on over here. Now this one's going to be a little bit smaller because it's in the background. So if I'm going to make one on one of these front hills here, I need to make it much, much larger, because as things get closer to you in the picture, they need to get larger. And this we have here in the background, so we're going to put one here in either in the middle ground or in the foreground, and those things need to be much, much bigger. I'm going to put my tree, I think, coming right here. This is going to be my trunk of my tree. I have some lines here that are crossing. I'm going to need to fix those up here in just a minute. I'm going to get some roots coming off of my tree. There we go. Work on those a little bit. Gonna imagine where would that tree extend out if this pane frame were not in the way, where would that be? And then I'm gonna make this one giant. This one is really, really close, so it's actually going to be behind the frame of my window even. Now I've got some overlapping problems here, and you may as well. So once you see here, I've got my tree in front, so I'm going to need to erase part of this hill line here, get rid of that, so I don't want it to cut my tree in half. All right, there we go, and I'm going to need to get rid of this part of the hill line here, because again, it's cutting my tree in half, and I do not want that. There we go. Okay, and if any of the lines that you wanted to keep disappeared, go ahead and redraw those in. All right, the next thing I'm going to do here is try and get some details going here. Maybe I'll put in a couple of nice big puffy bushes coming up here. Give them some little details. I was going to work on the roots a little bit more of my tree, make those a little bit fancy. There we go. And let's see here. Let's put in a few more bushes right over here. Give them a little lines to make them a little fancier. Now, if you want to get really snazzy with your picture, you can even put a rainbow in the background, and that's what I'm going to do right here. If you don't want your rainbow coming into your picture, don't put it in there. Maybe it's sitting off to the side. Maybe you don't have one. It's completely up to you. Now on your picture, this might not be what your picture looks like, and that's completely fine. If this isn't what your picture looks like, that's all right. This is what I imagine would be outside of my window. I think I'm going to put some grasses growing on my hills here in some certain areas. Make it nice big grasses, some really tall grasses coming out here. They're going to get even bigger once they get into my foreground. There we go. That'll be fun. There it is. And remember, in the background, they're going to be much smaller, so make them small in the background. And put maybe three different kinds. There we go. All right, and that is our drawing for today. If you want to keep working on yours, adding more details, that's great. If you're happy where it is, I'd love to see it. Go ahead and send me a picture of it. You know the address. Thanks, guys.